Once again, another tragedy has occurred. Once again, another mass shooting has occurred, and kids were killed in this one here. Now, guys, I want you guys to stick around with me on this video, which, by the way, will be released tomorrow morning. And just know that the information is always flowing at a very, very rapid rate. And, of course, things could be changing. And, of course, I'm going to be giving you guys probably an update or a follow-up to this video here sometime tomorrow after this video here is released when we get more information. But this video right here will also be containing some solutions to this type of ordeal and these type of shootings in the future. So make sure you guys stick around. Guys, John Claymore here, /Short Timer Prepping. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have already heard that there has been a mass shooting in Texas. Of course, this is the second mass shooting in the past few weeks. And we're going to be talking about this. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of background, kind of sort of tell you guys what's going on. I'm going to give you some details on the shooter, and of course I'm going to give you some details on the response to this right here and what it is that we should actually be doing in this situation. Now, guys, when this shooting occurred, originally it was said it was 14 were killed, and then it was 15, because then we found out that the shooter had actually killed his grandmother. And we'll talk about the shooter here momentarily here in a second. But also, to go on top of this, 2 police officers were also wounded. The shooter is dead, by the way. Cops did put him down. Thank God they did. But, of course, 14 small children were killed in the process. And, quite frankly, this is something that should never happen. This is a tragedy. And it's a tragedy mostly because it is small children. Children that were killed. And I got to ask the same question that Tom Fitton asked earlier. Why were the schools not secure? Now, guys, we're going to talk about the shooter, of course, first. And apparently it's this guy, Salvador Roma. Now, guys, people have been getting his name confused, been getting it wrong the whole time, but it was apparently an 18-year-old kid, and this right was plucked from his Instagram page. Now, I got to ask a question really, really quick. Was this guy, and by the way, there'll probably be another video out tomorrow updating you on this situation, because right now things are coming out saying that this guy here was sort of a lonely nut. He was 18 years old. The original reporting is that he used the shooting. Now they believe that he may have had a rifle. But we're going to kind of sort of compare and contrast the way people respond and the way people react to this in this video. But to our knowledge right now, what we're seeing is an 18-year-old kid who posted pictures of his weapons to Instagram and to Facebook, which, by the way, is in itself a sign that something is definitely wrong, because you see, guys don't normally post pictures of their weapons to their Facebook pages unless, number one, they want it to be known that they're somewhat of a Billy Badass, or number two, that they're capable of something. I'm a gun owner, and quite frankly, I don't put my guns out on social media. I don't do that at all. But I want to talk about this because there's obviously some red flags here, and we'll talk about what should be done in the future, or what we should consider doing in the future about incidents like this and how to better protect our children. Because, of course, they're coming at us right now with all the gun control rhetoric of stuff, of course, which is, by the way, what liberals do when a tragedy happens. They don't think for 1 second to give the family some time to grieve. I mean, 14 families need time to grieve. Even the shooter's family needs time to grieve because they lost their mother in this, because this guy, this dude, this insane psycho shot his grandmother before he went to a school to shoot these kids. I mean, doesn't that tell you right there that this person right here has got maybe some type of mental disorder? Oh, wait, by the way, that's right. Yeah, the media's probably going to want to move quick on this matter because obviously, as you guys can see, the shooter's not white. But guys, I want to go ahead and let you guys know ahead of time that I'm going to be hitting both sides on this one right here, okay? I'm going to be hitting both sides, okay? I set this little montage up a certain way so that way you guys can kind of sort of see how they're handling this. Let's go ahead and roll this. First, Greg Abbott, then Democrat Senator Chris Murphy. Let's go ahead and roll this.
The Robb Elementary School in Uvalde with a handgun, and he may have also had a rifle, but that is not yet confirmed according to my most recent report. He shot and killed horrifically, incomprehensibly, 14 students and killed a teacher. Mr. Romas, the shooter, he himself is deceased and is believed that responding officers killed him. It appears that 2 responding officers were struck by rounds but have no serious injuries. The Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District Police Department is the investigating agency, and we will provide them and the city of Uvalde substantial investigative and patrol assistance. We're in the process of obtaining detailed background information on the subject, his motive, the types of weapons used, the legal authority to possess them, and conduct a comprehensive crime scene investigation and reconstruction, and identify and interview all witnesses.
Why do you spend all this time running for the United States Senate? Why do you go through all the hassle of getting this job, of putting yourself in a position of authority, if your answer is that as this slaughter increases, as our kids run for their lives, we do nothing? What are we doing? Why are you here? If not to solve
Chris Murphy. Chris Murphy is the same run-of-the-mill Democrat politician that they send out every single time to talk about this type of stuff when a shooting occurs, okay? Chris Murphy is a senator of the state of Connecticut, and of course, you know, he kind of sort of got some praise after Sandy Hook, which, by the way, the state of Connecticut had some pretty freaking very stringent gun laws before Sandy Hook itself. And it's something that a lot of people don't seem to understand. And by the way, Chris Murphy, you know, in that little exchange, he mentioned spare me with our mental illness. You didn't hear it in that actual take, but here's the deal. Chris, the guy killed his grandmother before he went to go kill these kids. Also, something else, too. It just came out that he was posting pictures to his social media of him and his guns. There's a red flag that tells you right there that maybe he thinks he's a bit of a Billy Badass. Also, something else, too. We're finding out that he was freaking trans. Yes, Chris, we're finding out he was trans. I mean, isn't this right here the whole agenda that they're kind of pushing? White guys were white supremacists, anti-trans, I mean, I'm pretty sure that him being trans kind of sort of destroys any narrative that's about to come out in the next few days. So, yes, I do think the media is probably going to move on from this one very, very quick. And don't worry, we'll be talking about this at a later date in later videos to discuss this. But come on, Chris. The guy's trans. He kills his grandmother. And you want to sit here and lecture us on the fact and say, you're going to lecture us on this right and say, spare us your talks on mental illness. Spare us on this right here. I mean, dude, this guy here was clearly a whack job. And once again, you're just another generic used car salesman politician that they send out there for every single one of these tragedies. I mean, dude, anytime something occurs, send in Murphy. Anytime a shooting occurs in a red state, send out Murphy. Anytime a shooting occurs in a purple state, send out Murphy. That right there is who this guy is. It's just another generic run-of-the-mill politician screaming gun control and screaming spare us the mental illness when obviously the signs and symptoms are right there for you guys to see. First, Greg Abbott. Okay, Greg Abbott, of course, just simply gave you the spiel, gave you all the information that he knew. And let me just go ahead and say this really quick. After the Parkland shooting, there were a lot of ideas going around, and one of the ideas that was being floated around the most, and I know that this is long before I got on YouTube, but I actually thought that maybe what you should be doing is hiring veterans or possibly hiring those who may have graduated the law enforcement academy yet did not get hired by their actual department. I know this right here because I was one of those guys who graduated from the law enforcement academy in the county that I live in, but I did not get hired. Maybe what you should be doing is hiring these guys who are seeing how they're already somewhat trained, or at least especially militarily trained, and actually had them go through like a 6-week course or concealed carry course on how to identify people who might be possible school shooters. Also pair them up with resource officers and actual local police at the school itself. The reason why you would do this is so that way you could kind of report of a suspicious guy who comes on the actual property itself. By the way, these places that a lot of these shootings occurred at were gun-free zones. Okay, so I don't see where gun-free zones are helping things out if somebody's coming up there with a gun. Maybe what you should do is hire these guys who, by the way, are armed, so that way they can kind of sort of identify possible threats. Now, of course, not only would they be identifying possible threats, but they would actually be possibly putting a stop to the threat itself. Give them reasonable use of force control. You know what I'm saying? Like they have reasonable amounts of use of force in these situations. I mean, look. Guy comes on campus, he's got a gun or whatnot, or he looks very, very suspicious. You call it, hey, look, man, this guy here looks pretty daggone suspicious. You got your rifle right there. Maybe you go up to him, ask him how he's doing, ask him what his business is. He asks you who you are. Say, look, man, I'm one of the school guards. I'm one of the campus guards. I'm here just to help protect the kids. If they walk away very, very funny like, then you know something was obviously up. Okay, not that hard, not that big of a deal. You ain't got to friggin' strip them down or anything like that right there. It's not that hard to do. Also, something else too. Why not get the janitors? Why not get people with inside the school itself, like teachers? And I know some teachers are going to come in here and say, Well, that right there is just terrible. I mean, once you put a gun, okay. Instead of grooming our kids, how about you actually protect our kids, okay? It's funny how it is that they're your kids when you're trying to groom them, but yet you can't actually protect them, okay? So spare us the liberal BS. What you need to be doing is find teachers who actually are willing to actually go through the concealed carry course, so that way they can get some of the same type of training as well inside the school, and say in case, God forbid, they magically get beyond the people at the front gate or people who are actually protecting the school. You need to have this right here done. By the way, you probably have teachers in the school who, by the way, were veterans or former law enforcement themselves, or possibly ex-first responders. They need to be in there. I mean, hell, it can be somebody patrolling the hall. It could be the freaking janitor for all we know. I mean, a lot of those guys are retirees from other jobs. You never know. They may enjoy the idea of actually protecting your kids. Also, something else, too, going back to vets. What about vets, especially in a bad economy, who can't find work, who are having problems finding work? Give them that security job at the school. Have them be armed. Have them be out there. Report on suspicious activities outside the school, so that way they can better protect your children. I don't believe in red flag laws or anything like that, because they obviously don't damn it work. I mean, this guy here probably had tons of red flags like the Buffalo shooter did, and yet law enforcement did not do their freaking job. This right is a very, very common sense solution to what is obviously a very, very big problem, and I'm all in favor of putting vets out there at the school, people who are willing to actually protect your children, have them go out there armed, have them go out there trained to actually protect your kids. It's a very, very common sense solution, and I still can't figure out for the life of me why the hell it is that nobody has even thought to do this. That being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this video on this right here. You see, this right here was a tragedy. Yes, a tragedy. 14 kids dead, a grandmother dead. Also something else too, we're now finding out, of course, that the kid, once again, trans, not white. Of course, don't worry, the media, that will find a way to bypass this story over the next couple of days, because right here screams mental problems. All you got to do is look at his Instagram page. And of course, this is what they're going to do. They're going to virtue signal like hell on this right here. And I know. You're probably thinking to yourself, my God, Claymore, you seem like a bit of a scumbag because you're out here talking politics. What? No. I am highlighting the fact that a tragedy occurred. I'm highlighting the fact that your virtue signaling does not help. I'm highlighting the fact that a Republican governor in the state of Texas should have enacted laws like putting veterans, putting people who could actually protect your children in place. He could have had this done in every school district in the country, especially a school district outside of San Antonio, which is closer to the border, okay, where crime is rampant, okay? You got human trafficking that goes on down there. I mean, Greg, you should have seen this coming from a mile away. Why can't you embrace some common sense and hire veterans, hire retired law enforcement, hire people who are actually willing to actually help and protect these kids, okay? Why can't you do that? Why can't Republican governors do that in general? Why can't you freaking do that? Embrace common sense and protect our freaking kids. Guys, I'm not going to do the like, share, subscribe crap. I'm just going to say Claymore out.